Hello and welcome to Creator Weekly for June 22nd, 2025. I'm Peggy Kay, and this week there are updates for YouTube, for Meta, for Facebook and Threads, for Patreon, and a bunch others. So we'll get started. First of all, I want to say happy summer. It is officially summer now. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend, not too humid or stormy. And I want to give a quick plug. Immediately after today's event, I'm going to be over on eBoard. There's going to be a session on YouTube basics. I'm going to be going through the basic settings and features on YouTube. It's for people who are new to YouTube or people who want a refresher. So if you're using YouTube, and I suspect a lot of you are, since you're watching this on YouTube, you should check it out. There'll be a link in the description. So let's get started with this week's updates. There were two YouTube-related conventions this week with two very different audiences. The first was at and I can't speak French, so this is going to be mangled. It was the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity, which sounds super fancy, but it's basically for advertisers. So it's like advertising on various platforms and awards and so forth. And then there's VidCon, which is happening right now. This is aimed at creators and fans, and that's down in Anaheim in Southern California. So two very different events going on. I want to start with what was announced at the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity. YouTube CEO Neil Mohan, he spoke about YouTube's current vision. He talked about YouTube creators being the startups of Hollywood and how YouTube's reimagining the industry and YouTube is the epicenter of culture. He also gave a shout out to fans who make fan art or reaction videos and so forth, and actively engage with creative works in their own creative way. The big stat that he shared is that YouTube Shorts are currently averaging more than 200 billion views per day. That's up from March 2024, so just over a year ago when it was 70 billion daily views. So the message here is that more and more people are watching shorts, making shorts, and of course, the other thing he's talked about a lot is that a lot of people are watching YouTube on televisions, on the great big screens, even shorts. So that's the story. And he talked about two upcoming updates in the sort of AI tool space. The first is that Google Veo 3, that's Google's most recent text to video model that also allows you to generate audio. This will be available in the Shorts editor later this summer. So that's within the next couple months. And he also talked about automated AI-powered audio dubbing. This has dubbed more than 20 million videos in 9 different languages, and 11 more languages are coming soon. I don't know what the languages are. There'll be more information when that actually launches. There were some other updates at VidCon. I assume that there's going to maybe be more video and information next week about that, since it's ongoing right now. But the big update from YouTube this week is the wider launch of YouTube communities. So the announcement was that communities are rolling out to all channels that have access to posts. So, YouTube channels, they have a tab you can post images, videos, quizzes, polls, that kind of thing. If you can do that with your channel, you should also be able to enable a community. Just a note that communities are opt-in, so it doesn't get turned on automatically, and they're not available if you're younger than 16, have a managed account, supervised account, or your channel's made for kids. But everyone else should have access to communities, if not now, then soon. And once you've enabled a community, subscribers to your channel can then post in that community and engage with each other. Right now, communities are only available in the YouTube mobile app. And this is an example of Michael Daniel's channel because he has that enabled. If you go to his channel, you'll see an option to visit the community. And I have not enabled it yet on my channel because I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. And it takes moderation and so forth. So I'd be interested, anyone watching this, would you be interested in there being a community on my channel? What would you like? Would you be interested in having a place where people can talk about the latest updates on YouTube and social media and so forth, or a place to chit chat? I'm open to suggestions and willing to give things a try. To enable the communities, the easiest way is to open your channel in the YouTube mobile app, click the little edit pencil, and that will open your settings. And then you just toggle on My Community. Once it's turned on, YouTube suggests that you should post a welcome message and maybe talk about the policies, the guidelines for posting there, and so forth. And these are the settings that you can update. This is actually on desktop in YouTube Studio. Along with the comment settings, you can decide whether the people who can post, they either have to be subscribers to your channel for 1 day or a week. And you can choose the moderation level. So it can be no moderation, which sounds like it would be a bad idea. A basic moderation, which means that anything that seems dodgy to YouTube systems is held for review, or you can hold all the reposts for review. And this, I think, could be a game changer, especially if it gets more features. Right now, it's new, it's rolling out to all creators, but it's missing some features like being able to pin a post, I don't think is available. And I think it should be possible to limit posting to paid channel members, for example. So that could be a perk. We'll see where YouTube goes with this. Could be a bit of a game changer, though. The other big update from YouTube is if you're monetizing with YouTube Shopping, you can tag a product in a YouTube short, and YouTube will make a cutout sticker of the product that appears on top of your video. So if you're in the Shorts editor, you can choose to add a product sticker, and then you choose the product. It makes a sticker, and you can reposition it or resize it. You can also go into the Shorts settings and tag products. If you tag more than one product, only the first one tagged will have a sticker made. The reason why you do this is because YouTube says stickers get 40% more clicks than just the plain shopping button. And also note that to promote merch from various brands, you have to enable YouTube Shopping, be part of the YouTube Partner Program, and have at least 10,000 subscribers. Otherwise, you can just only promote your own merch. So, and it seems very much in the beauty space. That's always the examples. but I imagine there's other products that do well as well, maybe lifestyle products. And then one more update for YouTube Partner Program members. Google Ads advertisers can post an open call. This gets linked to YouTube Brand Connect, which you can enable if your channel's in the YouTube Partner Program. The idea is that brands publish a description of what they're looking for, and YouTube partners can then submit video content that fits that brief. And, this means that smaller channels that aren't big enough to have a brand reach out to them or negotiate with them, they may actually be able to get a brand deal that way. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if that actually works that way, or if this is just an easier way for some of the more popular channels to get brand deals. Because part of it is understanding what brands want out of a promotional video, which may not be obvious. Not obvious to me. And then I just wanted to add a note about something people are talking about. Google has confirmed that they're using YouTube videos to train their AI models, including Gemini and VO3. This is not really surprising if you've been following this space. Google used to actually talk about the databases of YouTube videos they were using for training. This was back in the days when it was all just research rather than commercial products. So YouTube says it's only using a subset of videos for training. I suspect there's some sort of quality control because there's a lot of crappy videos, and maybe they don't want to train on thousands and thousands of video game segments. They also say that their training honors specific agreements with creators and media companies. They probably have deals with the music labels and movie companies and so forth, and bigger creators about what can actually be used for AI training. Ordinary creators, you don't get those deals. They also note that they are working on a way to help protect the likeness of creators, because these AI models tend to sort of just regurgitate out what they're trained on. So if it's trained on popular YouTubers, they don't want videos generated to look like those YouTubers. It's an ongoing process, but apparently some creators are surprised. There's a few more video updates. First, for Google Workspace users, you can now create a Google vid from a Google slide. And this is not creating a video from a whole slide deck. Instead, you choose individual videos, and then Google Vids makes scenes using the elements of those slides. And you can make additional edits and add stock images, stock video clips, and so forth. So this is just one step in the process, I think, to eventually be able to make a video from a whole slide deck. At least that's my impression. Over on Adobe, they have launched a Firefly mobile app for iOS and Android. So Firefly's their generative AI model. It can generate images, it can add and remove objects in an image, and it can animate still images. And what's interesting is that the announcement gave some specific examples of creators using it for creating videos. One creator said she used it to make backgrounds. She does green screen kind of videos. But what I thought was interesting is that another creator talked about using it to generate B-roll. You start from your own image, you can add and remove objects and then animate it. And then that clip can go in like stock footage, essentially, but it's based on your own bone photos. I think that it's really good to keep up with these options, at least even if you're not going to use them. And I recommend watching the clip of the creator explaining how she uses this. It's in the announcement. That's in the link in this week's newsletter. You can find that in the video description. Craig says AI can make some good fakes. It indeed can, especially some of these new video models, very realistic. And especially, now that Google and has a model where you can add audio as well. So, TikTok news. The latest deadline for enforcing the ban on TikTok in the US, if it's not divested by the Chinese owners, that was this week. And no surprise, there's been another extension in enforcement for another 90 days. It was originally supposed to be banned in January, and then it got an extension, and then it got another extension in April. Now it's getting another extension until September. If TikTok was really a national security threat, this would be worrisome, but it seems like not. So that, and then the last update on the video front, there's a big change happening over on Facebook where every video uploaded is going to be a reel. So there used to be a distinction between regular videos and reels. Reels were the short vertical videos that people were watching on mobile, and then regular videos could be anything. With this change, everything is a reel, so it can be vertical, it can be landscape, it can be 1 minute long, it can be 20 minutes long. It's all the same. The video tab in the Facebook app is going to be the Reels tab. Kind of weird, right? If you're scrolling through a feed of videos, I'm not sure you'd want to stop and watch a 20-minute landscape video, but what do I know? So you also need to know that it will respect your privacy settings. There used to be separate settings though for videos and reels. Now it's just one setting. So if you want to limit what you post to just your friends, that will apply to everything because all the videos are reels. What's good about this is that because everything's a reel, when you upload a new video, you can get access to the reels editing tools, things like adding music, adding text overlays, and so forth. And if you're getting insights, analytics on your videos on Facebook, again, all that's consolidated into reels. I think it's limited to business accounts. They can get their historical stats at least until the end of the year, but for everyone else, you'll just start to see reels. You won't see separate stats. And you'll still see 1 minute views, 3 minute views, all those numbers, but no way to distinguish, how different types of videos are doing for your Facebook account. And for creators who are monetizing on Facebook, Facebook says you need to switch to the new monetization platform by the end of August. This is sort of a unified system that lets you earn from engagement on your reels, your photos, your stories. And they say with this switch, with videos all becoming reels, the payouts should stay the same as long as the amount of content and engagement doesn't change. Of course, that's the big question mark. Does this mean that engagement will change when everything is in the Reels feed? I guess creators will find out. So I want to say hello to folks in chat. I see Craig and Jolyn there. Thank you for joining me today. Anyone else, please stop in and say hello. And I'd love to hear what you think about this week's updates. I have a couple more updates in the social media space. The first one I'm kind of excited about is over on Threads. There's a huge update for Fediverse ActivityPub Federation. And Meta has a little explainer about how Federation works. The idea is that different social media platforms can talk to each other. So you set up your profile on Mastodon, you can follow somebody's profile on Threads and see the posts that they post on Threads inside your Mastodon account, and you can comment on them and reshare them and otherwise engage with them. And then the idea is the flip should be true as well. If you have a Threads account, you follow someone on Mastodon and engage with their posts. So the big update this week is that you can finally get a feed of Fediverse posts from the accounts you're following inside Threads. So there's a separate tab you can access. There'll be a feed of posts for people that you're following on Mastodon or WordPress if they have ActivityPub enabled. And you can read the posts, comment, reshare. It's kind of similar to an RSS feed, but an RSS feed, you can't engage with the posts directly. So this gives you that engagement option. Blue Sky does not get federated this way because it's using a totally different protocol. It's not ActivityPub, but you can use a service like BridgeFed to connect or bridge between Blue Sky and ActivityPub platforms. So I think this is exciting and interesting, and we'll see where this goes. People were skeptical that Meta would actually follow through with this, but they're actually doing it. The other big update this week is from Patreon. They announced they're raising their fees for new creators on August 4th. Current creators can keep their plan, which has an 8% fee, or some legacy accounts only have a 5% fee. But starting August 4th, for new creators on the platform, the fee is 10%. And there's a lot of information in the Patreon Help Center. They're making this change because they've been adding a lot of new features like live streaming and podcasts, video, and this, of course, helps pay for that. And among the other details, there's a couple of nice updates, new features. Previously, for Patreon accounts that could upload video, they were limited to 100 hours of video. That's not 100 hours a month. That's 100 hours total over the lifetime of the account, which isn't that much. And they're changing this to 100 hours per month. That's a significant increase. And all accounts will have access to team accounts, which allows others to help you manage your Patreon page. So you get more features, and they are rolling out live streaming to more creators. There's also a couple of updates for people with websites. First, Google has added data from AI mode in search to the Google Search Console reports, stats. This is impressions and clicks. Those numbers are not broken out in the stats, though, so you may see differences that are attributable to these AI summaries, AI mode in the search, but you can't know that for certain. So you may see, for example, an increase in impressions on a link to a page in your site, but maybe a decrease in clicks. The data is there. I don't know why Google isn't breaking out that information. Maybe they don't want webmasters to know. But the important thing is Google says you don't need to do anything special to get your web pages to appear in AI mode results. You don't need to have special machine readable files or anything like that. You just do regular SEO, make content that answers people's questions, has good information, authoritative information. And along those lines, I wanted to mention that there's an update from Yoast. They make an SEO plugin. So Yoast SEO has all these tools. And they launched something called Ilms.txt that says it will future-proof your website. The idea is you have robots text that tells the bots what not to visit. And then there's LLMs.txt that tells the AI bots what they should visit on your site. And in a discussion over on Blue Sky, Google's John Mueller notes that there's no indication that any of these AI bots actually access this LLMs.txt file or use it to direct them towards content on your site. And he seems skeptical that this will ever happen. You know, sites like Yoast, they have these services, they're selling services. They want something to be, oh, here's how you manage in the age of AI. And they have to think of these things, even if they're not actually useful. Kind of sucks to be a website owner these days when you don't even know how your content is going to be used, but that's the reality of it. So what was happening 10 years ago? 10 years ago this week, Reddit turned 10. That means Reddit turns 20 this week. And looking back, this was a time of turmoil on Reddit, even more so than usual. Ellen Pao was the CEO. She became interim CEO in 2014. And under her leadership, Reddit started really cracking down on harassment. Because of these changes in their harassment policy and enforcement, they banned 5 subreddits, including one that was dedicated to making fun of fat people, which had more than 150,000 members. And at the same time, a very popular Reddit admin, Victoria Taylor, she ran Ask Me Anything's AMAs. She was fired. And there was a big revolt at Reddit. Moderators protested. Some subreddits were set to private. And Pao took the blame for everything. She got this big petition that she should quit. She got death threats. She got harassed. It sounds terrible. She did publish an apology, and she actually stepped down in July of 2015 and was replaced by Steve Huffman, Spez, who was one of the original founders and a previous CEO. He's the CEO today. From what I've read, it turns out that these decisions that she was getting threatened over, she didn't even make those decisions. Those were decisions from the founders, but she was the fall person for this. So over the past 10 years, Reddit has continued to grow. They've really leaned into being a source of information for things like product reviews and tutorials and people asking for help. They have been dominating the Google search results. Google's kind of leaning into that as well. So this is a beneficial situation for both Google search and for Reddit. People looking for answers get pointed to Reddit content. And Reddit even has AI-powered Reddit answers. It's supposed to let you easily search for information on the platform, although I don't know how many people actually use this rather than just using a Google search. I tried it. It didn't actually seem that useful. So I would say overall that Reddit is a kinder place than it was 10 years ago in 2015. My sense is there's less harassment, less of these really nasty subreddits, or at least they are less visible than they used to be. They even went public with an IPO in 2024, but now they have to answer to stockholders, to shareholders. And there's a lot of friction between moderators and power users who think that decisions are being driven with a profit motive rather than what's best for the platform necessarily. But what I'm thinking is that Reddit, despite the bots, despite all the AI stuff posted there, despite changes to search and things in the world, it is a place where people can actually connect with each other, can post questions, get answers. And so I'm expecting it to still be popular 10 years from now. We'll see how that goes. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I see Nina's there. I'm going to be joining Nina and my friend Bob over on the On eBoard channel. We're going to be talking about YouTube basics. So I hope you can join me over there as well. There will be a redirect at the end of the live stream, and there's also a link in this week's newsletter. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all next Sunday.